Food labels. Nutrition labels can help you choose between products and keep a check on the amount of foods you're eating that are high in fat, salt and added sugars. Most pre-packed foods have a nutrition label on the back or side of the packaging. These labels include information on energy in kilojoules (kJ) and kilocalories (kcal), usually referred to as calories. They also include information on fat, saturated fat, carbohydrate, sugars, protein and salt. All nutrition information is provided per 100 grams and sometimes per portion of the food. Supermarkets and food manufacturers now highlight the energy, fat, saturated fat, sugars and salt content on the front of the packaging, alongside the reference intake for each of these. You can use nutrition labels to help you choose a more balanced diet. For a balanced diet, eat at least 5 portions of a variety of fruit and vegetables every day. Base meals on potatoes, bread, rice, pasta or other starchy carbohydrates. Choose whole grain or higher fiber where possible. Have some dairy or dairy alternatives, such as soya drinks and yogurts. Choose lower fat and lower sugar options. Eat some beans, pulses, fish, eggs, meat and other protein. Aim for 2 portions of fish every week, one of which should be oily, such as salmon or mackerel. Choose unsaturated oils and spreads, and eat them in small amounts. Drink plenty of fluids. The government recommends 6 to 8 cups or glasses a day. If you're having foods and drinks that are high in fat, salt and sugar, have these less often and in small amounts. Try to choose a variety of different foods from the 4 main food groups. Most people in the UK eat and drink too many calories, too much fat, sugar and salt, and not enough fruit, vegetables, oily fish or fiber. Nutrition labels on the back or side of packaging. Nutrition labels are often displayed as a panel or grid on the back or side of packaging. This type of label includes information on energy, kilojoule per kilocalorie, fat, saturated fat, carbohydrate, sugars, protein and salt. It may also provide additional information on certain nutrients, such as fiber. All nutrition information is provided per 100 grams and sometimes per portion. How do I know if a food is high in fat, saturated fat, sugar or salt? There are guidelines to tell you if a food is high in fat, saturated fat, salt, sugar or not. These are: total fat high, more than 17.5 grams of fat per 100 grams. Low, 3 grams of fat or less per 100 grams. Saturated fat high, more than 5 grams of saturated fat per 100 grams. Low, 1.5 grams of saturated fat or less per 100 grams. Sugars high, more than 22.5 grams of total sugars per 100 grams. Low, 5 grams of total sugars or less per 100 grams. Salt high, more than 1.5 grams of salt per 100 grams or 0.6 grams. Sodium low, 0.3 grams of salt or less per 100 grams or 0.1 grams sodium. For example, if you're trying to cut down on saturated fat, eat fewer foods that have more than 5 grams of saturated fat per 100 grams. Some nutrition labels on the back or side of packaging also provide information about reference intakes. Nutrition labels on the front of packaging. Most of the big supermarkets and many food manufacturers also display nutritional information on the front of pre-packed food. This is very useful when you want to compare different food products at a glance. Front of pack labels usually give a quick guide to energy, fat content, saturated fat content, sugars content, salt content. These labels provide information on the number of grams of fat, saturated fat, sugars and salt, and the amount of energy in kJ and kcal in a serving or portion of the food. But be aware that the manufacturer's idea of a portion may be different from yours. Some front of pack nutrition labels also provide information about reference intakes. Reference intakes. Nutrition labels can also provide information on how a particular food or drink product fits into your daily recommended diet. Reference intakes are guidelines about the approximate amount of particular nutrients and energy required for a healthy diet. Red, amber and green color coding. Some front of pack nutrition labels use red, amber and green color coding. Color-coded nutritional information tells you at a glance if the food has high, medium or low amounts of fat, saturated fat, sugars and salt. Red means high, amber means medium, green means low. In short, the more green on the label, the healthier the choice. If you buy a food that has all or mostly green on the label, you know straight away that it's a healthier choice. Amber means neither high nor low, so you can eat foods with all or mostly amber on the label most of the time. But any red on the label means the food is high in fat, saturated fat, salt or sugars, and these are the foods we should cut down on. Try to eat these foods less often and in small amounts. Ingredients list. Most pre-packed food products also have a list of ingredients on the packaging or an attached label. The ingredients list can also help you work out how healthy the product is. Ingredients are listed in order of weight, so the main ingredients in the packaged food always come first. That means that if the first few ingredients are high-fat ingredients, such as cream, butter or oil, then the food in question is a high-fat food. Food shopping tips. You're standing in the supermarket aisle looking at two similar products, trying to decide which to choose. You want to make the healthier choice, but you're in a hurry. If you're buying ready meals, check to see if there's a nutrition label on the front of the pack, and then see how your choices stack up when it comes to the amount of energy, fat, saturated fat, sugars and salt. If the nutrition labels use color coding, you'll often find a mixture of red, amber and green. So when you're choosing between similar products, try to go for more greens and ambers, and fewer reds, if you want to make a healthier choice. But remember, even healthier ready meals may be higher in fat and energy than the homemade equivalent. And if you make the meal yourself, you could also save money. Labeling terms and food safety. To find out more about food labels, including what terms such as light and low fat mean, and the difference between use by and best before, read more about food labeling terms.